The CEO, older sister, would never have dreamed that by just sending her misbehaving younger brother to prison to teach him a lesson, the younger brother who once admired her the most would never be able to return. She discovered that the younger brother who used to follow her like a shadow and tried so hard to please her no longer wanted to follow her, but in his eyes, there was no longer the adoring light that used to be there, like a puppet that had lost its soul, completely lifeless. Even when wronged, he no longer sought comfort from her. It wasn't until she found out that while I was in prison, I was tortured until I lost a kidney and had a leg broken. Even my right ear was permanently deafened, that she finally regretted it, her eyes red. She begged me to smile at her one more time, but I just coldly and distantly asked, "It's her. Miss Ao, may I ask when you will let me go?" The cold iron gate slowly opened. I faced the blinding sunlight and walked out of the prison. 5 years of prison life had left me skin and bones. The clothes I wore when I went in were now hanging loosely on me. I dragged my crippled leg, limping forward. A black Maybach was parked by the roadside. The car window rolled down, revealing Xiao Rongyu's deep and gloomy face. She glanced coldly at my leg, the corner of her mouth curling into a mocking smile. 5 years in prison, and you still like to pretend so much. These words were like a sharp knife, unexpectedly stabbing into my heart. Ever since I was brought to the Xiao family from the orphanage at 15, I had done everything I could to please Xiao Rongyu, but for her adopted brother, who had no blood ties with her, she personally gave false testimony, sealing my conviction for attempted murder. 5 years later, she still hated me just as much. I suppressed the bitterness in my heart, pretending not to see Xiao Rongyu, and continued to limp forward. Xiao Rongyu's expression stiffened. She was being ignored again. In her memory, I had always been the one to approach her, doing everything to please her. Today, knowing I was getting out of prison, she was actually a little happy. She even postponed an international meeting to come pick me up, thinking I would be overjoyed to see her. She was even prepared for me to cry and complain about all the grievances I'd suffered over the years. She just never expected to be met with my indifference and coldness. The unfamiliar feeling of emptiness in her heart made her angry. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, her tone unconsciously turning aggressive. "Get in the car." After saying that, Xiao Rongyu felt a bit of regret, frowning in annoyance. Her tone softened slightly. "Mom and Dad know you're getting out today. They've specially prepared a welcome party for you." Mom and Dad. Such familiar yet distant words. In the 3 years I spent in that house, I endured all sorts of grievances and cold stares, knowing I was hated. Why should I go back and subject myself to that discomfort? My steps were slow, but they didn't stop for a moment. My cold attitude and stubborn back made Xiao Rongyu's eyes sting. An unknown fire ignited in her heart. She opened the car door, grabbed my wrist, and yanked it hard. "Have you caused enough trouble?" I lost my balance and fell heavily to the ground. An excruciating pain shot up from my broken leg, my small face turning even paler, drained of all color. Xiao Rongyu was furious. "Are you addicted to playing the victim? Don't forget, 5 years ago, you were the one who pushed Ru Feng down the stairs, putting him in a vegetative state. You even tried to frame Xiao Yan. 5 years in prison and you're still not repentant. It seems your rehabilitation wasn't thorough enough." After Xiao Rongyu finished speaking, she mercilessly pulled me up from the ground. "Don't think that serving 5 years in prison has redeemed all your sins. As long as Liu Ru Feng doesn't wake up, your crime will never be considered over. Also, you still owe Zhao Yan an apology. Get in the car. Don't make me say it a second time." Hearing these words, I just found it ironic. I've already explained, I didn't push Liu Ru Feng. Xiao Yan did, but no one believed me. They all chose to side with Xiao Yan. I am clearly the true young master, the one with Xiao family blood. But the whole family only believes Xiao Yan's side of the story. I am indeed guilty. My crime was that I shouldn't have come home. I shouldn't have yearned for a family bond that wasn't mine. I will change. I will never appear before them as an eyesore again. I quietly pulled my hand away from hers, taking a step back to keep my distance from Xiao Rongyu. My deliberate distancing made Xiao Rongyu choke with anger. She tried to suppress her anger, trying to make her tone gentler. "Come home with me." I lowered my eyes, my expression indifferent, as if I didn't want to look at her again. This made Xiao Rongyu's anger impossible to contain. 5 years in prison. You didn't learn anything else, but your temper has certainly grown. Just as she was about to explode in anger, a voice like a spring breeze sounded in her ear. "Shu Shui." My body stiffened. My once ripple-free heart instantly clenched. Even after 5 years of not hearing this voice, I still recognized it immediately. Its owner was my childhood sweetheart, Li Xia. The woman's clear, magnetic voice came from above my head. "Shu Shui, congratulations on regaining your freedom." If these words had come from someone else, I would have politely responded with a thank you, but coming from Li Xia, it sounded incredibly jarring. My most trusted childhood friend, Li Xia, the brilliant lawyer Lai. The first case she took after graduation was as Xiao Yan's defense attorney, condemning me in court. Before the trial, she said to me, "Xiu Yu, Shui, Xiao Yan has never suffered a day in his life. He can't handle life in prison. Can you take the fall for him? If Xiao Yan can't handle it, can I? Just because I was used to suffering, did I deserve to take the blame for Xiao Yan, for a baseless crime? Sending the true young master of the Xiao family to prison Made her famous overnight in Haicheng. 5 years ago, fresh out of college, she was still a bit naive. 5 years later, she was now Haicheng's renowned top lawyer, exuding an elite aura from head to toe. We grew up together in the orphanage since we were children. We weren't biological siblings, but we were closer than real siblings. When other kids bullied me, she would beat them up fiercely and solemnly promise me, with me, here, no one will ever bully Qiu Shui. But later, when Xiao Yan wronged me countless times, my Xia would just say, Qiu Shui, you're being too sensitive. Xiao Yan isn't like that, and dismiss me. She was the one who personally protected the person who hurt me, and personally sent me to prison. I couldn't be bothered with her. I suddenly turned to look at Xiao Rongyu. Didn't you want to go home? Let's go. Li Xia was once the person I was closest to and trusted most. Now, she's the person I hate most and want to face the least. Instead of facing Li Xia, I'd rather choose the lesser evil and go with Xiao Rongyu. At least Xiao Rong, you hated me from the very beginning. She never gave me any hope, so I wouldn't be too disappointed. In front of Xiao Rongyu, the psychological damage I'd suffer could be minimized. It's better than being utterly shattered by the one closest to you. Prison taught me a lesson. When you have no power, no influence, and no one to rely on, the only way is to find every way to minimize harm in order to survive with relative safety. So when the other inmates teased me, forcing me to choose between being disfigured and being slapped, I chose to be slapped. Between being beaten and kneeling, I chose to kneel. Between drinking toilet water and barking like a dog, I chose to bark like a dog. I had also fought back desperately, but the more I resisted, the more brutally I was beaten. To survive, I threw away my dignity, letting others order me around. See, even when thrown among a group of vicious criminals, I still relied on my instinct to seek advantage and avoid harm, to barely get by. I walked towards Xiao Rongyu's black Maybach. As I passed Li Xia, my expression remained indifferent. I didn't even give her a single glance. Li Xia's lips trembled slightly. She wanted to speak, but found her throat was as if blocked by something, unable to make a sound. I got in the car and sat in the back seat. My field of vision was filled with traces of a man. Every detail in the car reminded me that I didn't belong here. I looked out the car window, the scenery quickly receding. Xiao Rongyu, while driving, didn't forget to warn me. Mom and Dad have missed you a lot these past 5 years. They cried for you every day. Their hair has turned white with worry. Now that you're home, drop your rich kid attitude. I don't want to see you playing any tricks or scheming to make things difficult for Mom and Dad, as long as you behave. The Xiao family won't treat you poorly. After she finished, there was a long silence. No response came. Xiao Rongyu frowned, displeased, and looked at me through the rearview mirror. Xiao Qiu Shui, I am talking to you. Are you listening? I finally turned to look at her, speaking the longest sentence since I got out of prison. According to Article 48 of the Prison Law of the People's Republic of China, during the period a criminal serves their sentence in prison, they are allowed by regulation to meet with relatives and guardians. Criminals usually meet with relatives once a month, for half an hour to an hour each time. I served a 5-year sentence in prison, a total of 60 months, with 1 visit per month. I could have had 60 visits, but I never had a single one. You said your parents missed me very much, so why didn't they come to visit me in prison? Were they too busy, that they couldn't even spare half an hour each month? My voice was very calm, but every word was like a sharp sword, bluntly piercing through her lies. A flash of panic and guilt appeared in Xiao Rongyu's eyes. The scolding words she was about to say got stuck in her throat. Her gaze unconsciously avoided my calm but sharp eyes. Her hands instinctively tightened on the steering wheel, her knuckles turning slightly white from the force. Isn't it because you were so unruly? Mom and Dad didn't visit you, hoping that while you were in there, you could focus on correcting all your bad habits. Mom and Dad were just doing it for your own good. For my own good? Was it for my own good to have me take the blame for Xiao Yan, to suffer all kinds of torture in prison? I really can't bear such goodness. I just felt it was pointless. I didn't want to look at Xiao Rongyu anymore, and continued to look out the window. Soon, the car drove into the garage of the Xiao family's villa. 5 years later, this house still felt so foreign to me. I had never felt even a hint of warmth that belonged to a family here. Life here was worse than in the orphanage. I pushed the door open. In the small, windowless room, filled with junk, the only furniture in the entire room was a single folding bed and an old desk. This was a storage room, cold in the winter and hot in the summer. It was also my bedroom for the 3 years I was at the Xiao's. Xiao Rongyu told me to wear a proper formal suit, but where would I get a formal suit? I looked around the storage room. The only clothes I had to change into were that blue and white high school uniform. 5 years ago, I received an acceptance letter from Qingbei University, the top university in Huaguo, but the Xiao couple only threw a grand matriculation party for Xiao Yan. That party invited all the famous people from various circles in Haicheng. 18-year-old Xiao Yan wore a $1 million high-end suit, standing between the Xiao couple, surrounded by everyone like a young master, while I, dressed shabbily, was like an ugly duckling lost among swans, taken away by a police officer under everyone's watchful eyes. The next 5 years were spent in prison. the college life that should have been mine. 5 minutes later, after changing, I walked towards the Xiao family's banquet hall. Along the way, passing servants looked at me curiously. I stopped in my tracks, and suddenly didn't want to go to the banquet hall anymore. Xiao Rongyu only said, Father Xiao and Mother Xiao had prepared a welcome party for me, but she didn't tell me that outsiders were invited too. Getting out of prison is nothing to be proud of. Was it necessary to make such a big fuss for me? As I see it, this doesn't feel like a welcome ceremony, but more like they want to announce all my wrongdoings to the world, not leaving me a shred of dignity. A sense of bitterness mixed with anger welled up inside me. I didn't want to stay here any longer. I turned to leave, but Xiao Rongyu approached. After seeing my attire clearly, her eyes immediately filled with disgust. She frowned and walked over quickly, yelling loudly, Didn't I tell you to change into a formal suit? Why did you show up dressed like this? Don't you know what kind of occasion this is? I opened my mouth to explain, but was ruthlessly cut off by Xiao Rongyu. You had an attitude when you got out of prison, looking all sullen. And now that you're home, you want to play the victim in front of everyone to get their pity, putting on a face as if we owe you something, making people think the Xiao family mistreats you. Your tricks are as despicable as ever. You're truly hopeless. As she spoke, she reached out to grab me, still cursing foully. Get back and change. Don't embarrass us here. I leaned back to dodge her, looking up at her, my expression cold and distant. I don't have a formal suit. Hearing this, Xiao Rongyu became even angrier. No formal suit? Don't you know how to buy one? I just felt helpless, and said coldly, I don't have any money. Xiao Rongyu's brows furrowed into a knot. The fire of anger burning in her chest could no longer be suppressed. For the 3 years you were at home, you didn't have to worry about food or clothing. And every month, the company's finance department transferred 500,000 inches allowance to your card. That's a total of 18 million over 3 years. Wasn't 18 million in allowance enough for you to buy yourself a few decent clothes and a formal suit? Yet you deliberately wear cheap clothes. Aren't you just telling outsiders that our Xiao family has been harsh to you? Xiao Chushui, you can't be so selfish. You've already caused trouble. We've already compensated you for what we should have. You should know when to stop. Any more trouble is just for show. I knew it would be like this. No matter what I say, the result is always disbelief. I stared at her without blinking. I don't know why. Facing my clear, black and white eyes, Xiao Rongyu felt a momentary pang of guilt. Why are you looking at me like that? I wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong? Heh. I laughed coldly in my heart. I didn't want to make a scene, but Xiao Rongyu's aggressive demeanor sparked a malicious thought in my heart. My gaze swept past and noticed someone heading this way. Since you want to make a scene, let's make it a big one. I've already lost all my dignity. I don't care about anything. I just wonder if someone as concerned with face as Xiao Rongyu can handle being judged in public. I've never received any money from the company's finance department, let alone 500,000. I haven't even received 50. Even my high school uniform was a gift from a teacher who pitied me. Miss Xiao, if you want to slander me, you should at least find a decent reason. The look in Xiao Rongyu's eyes grew even more disgusted. You really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Xiao Qiushui, you're forcing my hand. Don't blame me for not saving you any face. With that, she took out her phone and called the company's finance department, putting it on speakerphone. Help me check how much the company transfers each month to Xiao Qiushui's bank card. The hesitant voice of the finance employee came through the phone. Is that young Master Qiushui? Yes, him. CEO. If it's young Master Qiushui, there's no need to check. Hearing this, Xiao Rongyu said unhappily, What do you mean? Well, it's like this. The company's finance department has never transferred money to young Master Xiao Qiushui's bank card. What did you say? Xiao Rongyu couldn't believe what she was hearing. Even if Xiao Qiushui wasn't favored, he was still a member of the Xiao family. How could he not have an allowance? The night he was brought home, she discussed with their parents in the study about how much allowance he should be given to avoid showing favoritism. His allowance and Xiao Yan's were both set at 500,000 per month. She couldn't have remembered wrong. Didn't I already give the instruction? CEO? You didn't know? The madam said that since young Master Qiushui came from a place like an orphanage, his perspective is limited, and his friends are all good-for-nothings, giving him a 500,000 allowance all of a sudden. She was afraid he would pick up bad habits. Besides, the young master was a high school student then. At the Xiao family home, his food and clothes were provided, so there was nothing he needed to spend money on, so his allowance was cancelled. When Xiao Rongyu heard these words, her mind went blank. Allowance was cancelled. In other words, for the 3 years I was at the Xiaos, I didn't receive a single cent. Oh, right. The madam also increased young Master Xiao Yan's monthly allowance of 500,000 to 1 million a month, saying that because young Master Qiushui had returned, she was worried young Master Xiao Yan would be upset. The extra 500,000 per month was to be considered compensation for young Master Xiao Yan. The CEO must have known about this, right? Xiao Rongyu felt as if someone was choking her. She felt completely suffocated. She was unaware that the crowd around them was growing. They all heard the voice coming from the phone. Everyone present was astonished. Although the Xiao family wasn't the richest in Haicheng, They were still a well-known, prestigious family. It's very normal for children of wealthy families to have a monthly allowance of several hundred thousand to several million. They had never heard of a prestigious family whose young master didn't even get a single cent of allowance. The Xiao family is one of a kind. No wonder he's dressed so poorly. He doesn't even have a decent formal suit for a party. Even though he wasn't raised by their side, he's still the real young master of the Xiao family. They don't give their biological son a single cent, but they give the adopted son 1 million a month, doting on him completely. For something so outrageous to happen in the Xiao family, it seems this whole family can't tell right from wrong. The guests whispered amongst themselves. Xiao Rongyu felt as if there were thorns on her back. Her face flushed with excitement. Xiao Rongyu immediately questioned me in a cold voice. Even if the finance department didn't transfer money to you, mom and dad would surely give you an allowance. I showed a mocking expression, my gaze turning towards Father Xiao and Mother Xiao in the crowd. Whether Father Xiao and Mother Xiao gave me an allowance or not, young Miss Xiao, if you don't mind, you can just ask them yourself. After all, you don't believe what I say, but you'll surely believe our parents' words. The Xiao parents' bodies suddenly stiffened, too ashamed to look me in the eye. Mom, Dad, you two must have given him an allowance, right? Xiao Rongyu looked at them seriously. Father Xiao avoided her gaze. I thought you and your mother would give it to him, so I didn't. Mother Xiao's face was full of guilt, her eyes brimming with tears. She said sorrowfully, why didn't you say sooner that you had no money? If you had told me earlier, I would have definitely given you money. It's all my fault. I didn't realize it sooner, and that's why you had to suffer. But you must believe that I treat you and Xiao Yan the same. I gave her a half smile. Under my cold gaze, my parents awkwardly lowered their heads. I also just found out today that it was my own birth mother who forbade the finance department from transferring money to me. Not only that, she also increased Xiao Yan's allowance to 1 million, afraid that her precious adopted son would be wronged. Such blatant favoritism, yet she still has the nerve to say she treats us the same. Her apology is just a facade for outsiders. Seeing me ignore our mother's apology, which caused the Xiao family to lose face in front of so many people, the little bit of guilt that had just sparked in Xiao Rongyu's heart immediately vanished. She shouted coldly, you have a mouth. Don't you know how to talk? We're not mind readers. How would we know what you're thinking? If you had spoken up sooner, would we have really let you go without money? I did speak up. My voice was very quiet, but it exuded a coldness. It's just that none of you took it seriously. Xiao Rongyu frowned, just as she was about to deny it. A memory suddenly flashed in her mind. It was one afternoon. Their family of 4 was sitting on the sofa, talking and laughing happily. I approached timidly, clutching the hem of my school uniform, my face flushing before I could even say anything. I held it in for a long time before saying softly, Mom, Dad, could you give me 500 yuan for school fees? With a thud, she threw the newspaper and her hand onto the coffee table and glared at me critically. Money. 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 Is money all you know? Did you come back to this family just to ask for money? If the Xiao family didn't have money, would you not have come back? I really don't understand why Mom and Dad insisted on bringing you back. If you have nothing else to do, then go read more books. In the first monthly exam of the 10th grade, Xiao Yan ranked 10th in the entire school. And you? What was your rank? All right, last place. And you still have the nerve to say it out loud. I was utterly aggrieved and turned and ran away. Has young Miss Xiao remembered now? My voice pulled her back to reality. Her heart was being torn apart until it bled by every young Miss Xiao I uttered. She lowered her eyes and said angrily, wasn't it because you were doing so poorly in school? You got last place in the exam, and you still have the cheek to ask for money? I wouldn't even bother rewarding you. Hearing this, my eyes grew even colder. Such emotionless eyes made Xiao Rongyu feel a sudden pang of guilt. She gritted her teeth and shouted, I said a few words to you and you're still not convinced? For 3 years of high school, my academic performance was at the top of my grade every year. How come? In young Miss Xiao's words, it turned into being last in the class. Xiao Rongyu looked at me, a look of disbelief on her face. I curled my lip into a cold smile, a feeling of vengeful satisfaction rising in my heart. It makes sense, though. Young Miss Xiao doesn't even know which school I attended, so it's understandable that she's unaware of my academic performance. Xiao Rongyu looked as if she had been struck by lightning, standing frozen on the spot. It was as if she had heard something unbelievable. Her voice carried a faint, hoarse quality. Don't tell me you didn't attend Shenghui High School. Shenghui is the best elite school in Haicheng. Xiao Yan also graduated from Shenghui. All the children of the rich and powerful in Haicheng choose to send their children to this school. Xiao Rongyu naturally assumed I also attended Shenghui. She suddenly looked towards Father Xiao and Mother Xiao, her voice trembling violently. Mom, Dad, after Chao Cho Shui came back, did you two transfer his school records here? Father Xiao's face turned beet red. He opened his mouth, but only managed to utter a few unclear syllables, as if his backbone had been removed. His usual imposing demeanor was gone. As for Mother Xiao, her lips trembled slightly, her eyes filled with panic and confusion. Her meticulously maintained appearance now could not hide the awkwardness on her face. The two of them just stood there, frozen. The atmosphere around them seemed to freeze. Xiao Rongyu's face gradually turned pale. her previous perception of me collapsing like a building. All her previous firm disdain and contempt now turned into sharp blades that mercilessly stabbed her. She almost couldn't find her voice. Her throat felt as if it was being squeezed by someone, and the sound that came out was unusually shaky. Qiu Shui, where on earth did you go to high school for those 3 years? My life is already ruined, and only now does she remember to care about my studies. How ironic. For 10 years, I studied my heart out just to change my fate. Just when my efforts were about to bear fruit, I still couldn't fight against the powerful. The Xiao family casually sealed my fate with a single sentence, easily pushing me down into the 18th level of hell. I could have had a bright future. From childhood to adulthood, my family background was not as good as others. The only thing I could compete with was myself, studying harder than ordinary people. My dream was to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, then pursue a master's and a PhD. I wanted to become a university lecturer, standing on the podium, using my own strength to change the fates of hardworking people like me. But reality gave me a resounding slap in the face. I didn't become the person I wanted to be, but became a despised ex-convict, a lifelong stain on my record, affecting 3 generations. Thinking of this, I clenched my hands into fists, my nails digging deep into my palms, without me even realizing it. Haicheng No. 1 high school. My voice was very quiet, you could even call it gentle. However, these 4 words, Haicheng No. 1 high school, were as heavy as a 1,000-pound boulder. Her parents and Xiao Rongyu could barely breathe. It was because Haicheng No. 1 high school had the highest admission score in all of Haicheng. All the top students were there. Unlike the elite school Shenghui, which you could get into with just money, Haicheng No. 1 high school only accepted grades, not money. Competing among top students, I could still rank first in my grade every year, which shows I was the top of the top students. With my grades, getting into Tsinghua or Peking University was a sure thing. Impossible. You're lying. Xiao Rongyu seemed a little agitated. Haicheng No. 1 high school is in the suburbs, more than 30 kilometers from home. Back then, he used to ride a broken-down bicycle every day. Halfway through her sentence, Xiao Rongyu suddenly thought of something and couldn't continue speaking. Seeing Zhao Rongyu's face grow paler and paler, the corners of my mouth lifted into a sarcastic smile. Rather ride a bike than go to school with Xiao Yan, because we never attended the same school to begin with. I never ate breakfast with you all, because Haicheng No. 1 high school's morning self-study session started at 6 a.m. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to get to school 2 hours early. I never came home for lunch, because the lunch break was nowhere near enough time for me to ride my bike home from school. I had no money for food, so I could only drink a lot of water to hold me over until after school in the evening. When I finally made it home with great difficulty, you all had already finished eating long ago. I could only eat the leftovers, and you would still say I was like a cockroach, not eating hot food and only liking leftovers. You'd even devour leftovers, like a starving ghost reincarnated. Qiu Shui, sorry. Mother Xiao's tears fell like a broken string of pearls, crying miserably. I didn't know you had suffered so much. It's all my fault. You have nothing to apologize to me for. I looked at her, tears streaming down her face, my heart as calm as still water. You didn't raise me since I was a child, so you have no affection for me. I understand. After all, I've been used to these things for a long time. No matter how much harder it gets, I won't feel the hardship. Mrs. Xiao. Am I right? Hearing this, Mother Xiao's crying suddenly stopped. Qiu Shui, I am begging you. You're stronger than Xiao Yan. You can endure hardship better than Xiao Yan. You could even take good care of yourself. In a place like an orphanage, so I believe you'll get used to prison too. Please take the blame for Xiao Yan. A memory buried for 5 years suddenly rushed back. Mother Xiao was heavily struck, clutching her chest, as if she would faint the next second. Coldly watching Mother Xiao's about to collapse state, my heart was filled with mockery. Xiao Yan pushed Liu Rufeng down the stairs, and there was a camera there. But after the incident happened, Mother Xiao immediately deleted the camera footage. That could have proven my innocence. That's what made it impossible for me to defend myself in court. That's enough. Xiao Rongyu shouted at me coldly. Stop with the sarcastic remarks. We neglected you before. That was our oversight, but don't you bear any responsibility yourself. You were jealous that Xiao Yan had a better life than you, so you deliberately bullied Xiao Yan, using this method to get back at us. You yourself are dark-hearted, disliked by everyone. You don't look for the cause within yourself, but instead, you turn to blame us first. Rongyu, don't talk to your brother like that. Mother Xiao sobbed. Mom, are you still defending him? He's just taking advantage of our guilt towards him. That's why he's becoming more and more disrespectful. If not, he wouldn't have pushed Liu Rufeng down the stairs, putting him in a vegetative state, and then blamed it on Xiao Yan. We sent him to prison for 5 years, so he holds a grudge, and that's why he's causing such a scene in front of so many guests. Mother Xiao felt a pang of guilt. She quickly looked at me, only to see me, giving her a half smile. Her heart suddenly trembled, and she averted her gaze, too ashamed to know where to look. All right, that's enough. Don't say any more. Father Xiao frowned slightly, his face full of authority, and said, Qiu Shui, why didn't you say you were coming home? If we had known you were coming back, your mother and I would have prepared. a formal outfit for you. I stood there stunned. You all didn't know I was getting out of prison today? Of course not. If we had known, I would have sent the driver to pick you up. Chu Shui, how did you get back? I looked at Xiao Rongyu, my eyes as cold as ice, extremely sharp. I came back in young Miss Xiao's car, because young Miss Xiao said everyone had prepared a welcome party for me. A welcome party? Isn't today young Master Xiao Yan's birthday party? That's right. The invitation I received also said it was young Master Xiao Yan's birthday party. Since when did it become a welcome party for him getting out of prison? Are you asking us to welcome an ex-convict? You can't be serious. The people around started whispering among themselves. A flicker of embarrassment crossed Xiao Rongyu's face. She wanted to explain, but stammered for a long time without saying a word. I mocked myself inwardly. It turns out I was the clown all along. Father Xiao and Mother Xiao only remember that today is Xiao Yan's birthday. How could they remember that today is also the day I get out of prison? As for the welcome party Xiao Rongyu mentioned, it's just me getting a little bit of the shine from Xiao Yan's birthday party. A feeling of bitterness rose in my heart. What was I expecting? After all, I didn't want to play pretend with the Xiao family anymore, so I turned to leave. Suddenly, a figure in white rushed towards me. I wanted to dodge, but my limping leg made it impossible to move. With a thud, the person crashed into me, and the strong impact sent me sprawling to the ground. My elbow and leg throbbed with pain. I furrowed my brow tightly, my already colorless face turning even paler. When I could finally bear the pain, I looked up and saw Father Xiao, Mother Xiao, and Xiao Rongyu protectively surrounding a teenager in a high-end, white formal suit, asking solicitously after him. Yan, are you okay? Did it hurt when you bumped into him? Are you hurt? The teenager's eyes were glistening with tears. His eyes and nose were red, looking pitiful. Dad, Mom, Sis, it hurts so much. Immediately, the Xiao family became worried, checking to see where Xiao Yan was hurting. Did Qiu Shui hurt you when he bumped into you just now? Xiao Rongyu screamed at me without a second thought. Are you blind when you walk? A surge of anger rose within me. I pushed myself up with my hands, but I staggered a bit due to the injury on my leg. I gritted my teeth and glared at Xiao Rongyu. Young Miss Xiao really just says whatever she wants. It was clearly him who bumped into me, yet you falsely accuse me without distinguishing right from wrong. What? Has framing me become a habit? Is there no price to pay? There are dozens of pairs of eyes watching here. So, am I the one who's blind, or is it you? Young Miss Xiao, who is blind. Xiao Rongyu quickly looked around and noticed that all the guests present were giving her a strange look. The guests were all wealthy and influential people, so even if they looked down on me, an ex-convict, their good upbringing wouldn't allow them to twist the truth. Someone couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up fairly. Young Miss Xiao. It was indeed Xiao Yan who bumped into Qiu Shui. We all saw it. With one person speaking up, the others also nodded in agreement. Xiao Rongyu's expression became extremely ugly, her gaze cold, believing that I was deliberately ruining Xiao Yan's birthday party to make the entire Xiao family lose face in front of Heiqing's high society. This younger brother, she thought she knew him very well. He was the most narrow-minded and held grudges very strongly. He could even frame others, so what else was he not capable of? Xiao Rongyu frowned and said, even if Xiao Yan bumped into you, it was unintentional. Couldn't you have dodged? It's clear you did it on purpose. When I heard this, I could only feel my blood boil, my head buzzing. I was on the verge of losing my mind. Dodge? I walk with a limp. I can't even walk a little faster. How do you expect me to dodge? Oh, that's right. When I got out of prison, Xiao Rongyu had looked at me with disdain, thinking I was pretending to be lame. Xiao Rongyu only saw that Xiao Yan was bumped by me, but she didn't see that I was also knocked down by Xiao Yan. Since she enjoys trampling on me so much, then I don't need to save face for them anymore. I immediately, in front of everyone, rolled up my sleeve. My elbow was a bloody mess, that glaring red color and the skin around it being deathly pale created a sharp contrast. It was horrifying to look at. My palm didn't escape either. The torn skin was still bleeding incessantly. A drop of blood slowly dripped down from my fingertips. I held my arm up high so that everyone could see it clearly. Would I need to intentionally fall and get myself into this state? I injured myself all over just to get a scolding from young Miss Xiao? Am I that despicable of a person? My voice carried a sob, my eyes red with grievance. Seeing the horrifying scrape on my palm and arm, Xiao Rongyu's pupils contracted, her face flushed hot, and for a moment, she didn't dare to look me in the eye. Mother Xiao gasped in shock, quickly letting go of Xiao Yan and stepped forward, wanting to touch me, but she was afraid of hurting me. Qiu Shui, you're hurt, does it hurt? She said as she blew on my wound. That heartbroken expression looked so real. Xiao Yan said with tears in his eyes, brother, I am sorry. It's because the high-end formal suit that my sister specially ordered for me got ruined for some reason. So I was in a hurry and accidentally bumped into you. Please, don't be mad at our sister anymore, okay? She was just worried about me. That's why she misunderstood you. I can apologize to you on her behalf. He looked at me pitifully, his crying appearance even more sorrowful. Even his crying was so beautiful. He was apologizing with his mouth, but he looked as if I was bullying him. During my 3 years in the Xiao family, Every time I was bullied, Xiao Yan would put on this victim face. 5 years have passed. He really hasn't changed at all. You mean to say, a Yan has always been sensible? My expression was as cold as ice. My whole body felt chilled to the bone. No, it's not like that. As if scared by my imposing aura, Xiao Yan shrank back and hid in his parents' arms, large teardrops falling one by one. Brother, how could you misunderstand me like that? Mother Xiao heartbrokenly hugged Xiao Yan. She sighed helplessly. Ichyo shui, you really misunderstood Xiao Yan. A Yan has always been sensible. Is not like what you said at all. Today is Xiao Yan's birthday. Hurry up and apologize to Xiao Yan. Say happy birthday. And let's consider this matter over. I raised an eyebrow. This isn't the first time this has happened. Whether I misunderstood him or not, does Mrs. Xiao really not know? Do I need to remind Mrs. Xiao? 5 years ago. That's enough. Mother Xiao's face turned pale. She said guiltily, don't say any more. I laughed coldly, my laughter filled with mockery. My biological mother is still the same as she was 5 years ago. Between me and Xiao Yan, she still chooses Xiao Yan without any hesitation. She can't bear to let Xiao Yan suffer even the slightest grievance. But she's heartless enough to let her own biological son endure all the humiliation and suffering. I just feel that everything is so meaningless. Suppressing the pain in my body, I straightened my back. I limped towards the main door. But after just 2 steps, my arm was grabbed tightly by a small hand. Explain yourself. I turned my head to look at Xiao Rongyu. My eyes showed clear impatience. Explain what? Xiao Rongyu wanted to get angry, but when she met my hate-filled eyes, her heart trembled, and the flame of anger was finally suppressed by her. Then, in a calm tone, she asked, what's wrong with Xiao Yan's suit? The high-end formal suit that Xiao Yan was wearing had layers of feathers stacked on top of each other. However, a large patch of feathers was missing from the hem. One look, and you could tell someone had intentionally ripped it off. My palms clenched into fists. My body trembled with anger. So, Miss Xiao thinks that I am the one who intentionally ruined your brother's suit. I asked back coldly. The whole time, you were the only one who got in my car. You were also the only one who had the opportunity to touch the suit. Xiao Yan's tears immediately fell. His voice choked with sobs. Brother, why would you do that? Mother Xiao couldn't stand seeing Xiao Yan being wronged, but she couldn't bear to scold him. She couldn't help but let out a sigh, and said gently, Q Shui, Mom knows you have resentment in your heart, so that's why you did this. Let's just forget about what happened today. But from now on, you can't. Suddenly, a sneer cut her off. I stared into Mother Xiao's eyes and said word by word, Miss Xiao's car has a dashcam. Whether I tampered with young Master Xiao's suit or not, you'll know just by watching it. As I spoke, I faced Xiao Rongyu. To prove my innocence, I demand that Miss Xiao, in front of everyone, take out her phone and play the camera footage. My firmness made Xiao Yan panic. There's no need to check the camera, right? Mother Xiao also stepped in to help him. All the guests are here. Qio Shui, stop making a scene. At this moment, the one who had been silent all along, Father Xiao, finally came to mediate. Let's stop this. Here. Q Shui, go and get your wound cleaned up. It's like this again. I forcefully threw off Xiao Rongyu's hand. If you don't check the camera, do you expect me to just carry the false accusation of ruining Xiao Yan's suit? I dare to watch the footage. Why don't you dare to? What are you afraid of? My determined gaze swept across the faces of the 4 members of their family. The 4 of them subconsciously avoided my gaze, not daring to look me in the eye. Even Xiao Rongyu, with her angry expression, was thrown off balance by my sharp, knife-like gaze. I have lost my advantage because of my actions. Not talking? Then let me speak for you. When Miss Xiao received the suit, it was completely intact. The camera can prove I didn't touch the suit the entire way. This suit was damaged after it got into Xiao Yan's hands. It's obvious who ripped it. That's why you don't dare to watch the camera footage. Once you watch it, this false accusation can't be pinned on me so easily. And I can't be made to take the blame for someone else. Am I right? The words take the blame for someone else were like a knife, stabbing fiercely into Father and Mother Xiao's hearts, making them inevitably think of what happened 5 years ago. Mother Xiao was already drenched in tears. It's not like that. Qiu Shui, listen to Mom's explanation. You and a Yan are both my sons. Both the palm and the back of the hand are made of flesh. How could Mom bear to? If it were the me from 5 years ago, who craved a mother's love, seeing my mother cry so miserably, I would have softened long ago. But for me, who has endured 5 years in prison, hearing these words, again, there is only one feeling, disgust. Say whatever you want. I don't care anymore. After speaking, I walked away. I walked to the corner and unexpectedly ran into Li Shiye. She was standing there quietly. Clearly, everything that just happened had been seen by her. My heart suddenly tightened, but my steps didn't falter. I pretended not to see her and continued walking forward resolutely. I don't want to have anything to do with her. I just want to quickly escape this suffocating place. Just as I was about to pass her, a sweet voice, both familiar and distant, Li Shiya's voice rang in my ear. Qiu Shui, I believe you didn't do it. Hearing these words, I didn't feel any comfort at all. On the contrary, I found it extremely ironic. The word believe, coming from her mouth, was utterly ridiculous. I paused for a moment, then immediately quickened my pace. Because my leg is not well, my walk was a bit more rushed, giving the appearance of someone fleeing. My limping figure looked so pathetic from behind. Li Shiya's heart felt as if countless sharp needles were stabbing fiercely into its softest part. The pain spread, almost making it impossible for her to breathe. She wanted to call my name, but it was as if something was stuck in her throat and she couldn't make a sound. I dragged my heavy feet back to the storage room and slowly sat down on the old, rickety folding bed. My body felt as if all its strength had been drained. A wave of exhaustion washed over me. My eyes were vacant. My disappointment with this family was like a bottomless black hole, relentlessly swallowing the last bit of attachment I had. The 3 years I lived here, every minute and second was like walking on a knife's edge. The indifference, grievance, and suffering I endured was like a nightmare. Experiencing it just once was enough to be etched into my bones. I absolutely do not want to sink into this quagmire again. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to pack my things. Looking around, in this bare room, I only had a few meager belongings, only the clothes I had just changed out of. I casually stuffed them into a plastic bag. I stood up, about to open the door, but before I could touch the doorknob, the door was open from the outside. A woman in her late 50s appeared before me. The woman saw me and was stunned at first. Then an irrepressible joy followed. She said, emotionally, "Young master, you're really back." I was a bit taken aback. 100 thoughts swirled in my mind. In the entire Xiao family, only Dai Tang, in front of me, treated me like a true young master. The other servants were all incredibly cold towards me. In their hearts, there was only one young master of the Xiao family, Xiao Yan. In the scorching summer, I got a heat rash from staying in the stuffy storage room. It was Di Tang who used her own money to buy me a fan. In the freezing winter, I was shivering from the cold. It was also Dai Tang who bought me a heated mattress pad. The corners of my eyes unconsciously turned red. After her emotional moment, Di Tang's gaze fell on the plastic bag in my hand. "Young master, are you leaving?" My lips moved, but for a moment I didn't know what to say. I just nodded silently. Di Tang looked at me with a pained expression. The words to persuade me to stay were on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't bring herself to say them. She knew well that my days in the Xiao household were like treading on thin ice. She had seen all the cold stares, the grievances, and the injustice. How could she bear to let me continue to stay in this pit of fire that is the Xiao household? She sighed helplessly and said, "Young master, I won't stop you if you want to leave. But your wound, let me help you treat it first." I acted nonchalant. "It's just a small wound. I am used to it." Hearing this, Di Tang's heart ached. How much suffering must the young master have endured to be able to be so casual about the wounds on his body? She felt indignant on my behalf, but she was just a servant with a low status. Faced with all the matters of the Xiao family, she was powerless to help. Dai Tang suppressed her heartache and put on a kind smile. "Young master, you haven't eaten a bite since you got home. I'll go cook you a bowl of noodles. Eat before you go." This time, I couldn't refuse. A wave of warmth rose in my heart, but I was saddened by the impending goodbye to this warmth. So I added one more thing. "It's better to leave early. I need to find a place to stay quickly." In reality, I simply didn't want to eat the Xiao family's food. I am very poor now. My health is also very poor. I have nothing left. The only thing left is my own pathetic bit of backbone. Even if I have to beg on the streets, I don't want to continue staying at the Xiao house to be scorned and humiliated. Di Tang couldn't bear it. She took a wad of cash from her pocket and stuffed it into my hand. "Young master, take this for the road. You have to take good care of yourself when you're out there alone." As Di Tang spoke, tears she could no longer hold back streamed down her cheeks. I wanted to refuse, but Di Tang's attitude was very firm. "If you're out there with no money, are you going to live under a bridge?" My tears fell silently. Someone who isn't even related to me knows how to care for me, but my own biological parents and sister, how can they not know how to feel compassion? Meanwhile, in the Xiao family's garage, Xiao Rongyu sat in her car, rewatching the dashcam footage. During the 5-minute drive from the prison to the house, my hands were always on my lap, and my body was pressed against the car window. I stayed in that position the entire way. Never mind tampering with the suit. I didn't even glance at it once. Thinking about how they had falsely accused me, and the image of me confronting them with an ice-cold expression, Xiao Rongyu's chest felt tight. Self-blame and guilt nearly drowned her. In her mind, she kept seeing that cold and resolute look in my eyes. In her memory, I was someone who smiled a lot. Every time she came home, I would greet her with a smile, intimately pouring her tea and water, bustling about. But why had I become like a different person now? Xiao Rongyu just felt a headache coming on. She closed her eyes and leaned back warily in her seat. I don't know how long had passed. Suddenly, my voice came from a distance. "Dai Tang, you don't need to see me out. Please go back. Young master, you must be careful. If you run into trouble, call me." Xiao Rongyu's eyes suddenly flew open. She immediately saw me and Di Tang standing in front of the villa. The two of them talked for a while. I turned to leave. Seeing this, Xiao Rongyu hurriedly got out of the car and shouted towards me. "Xiao Qiu Shui, where are you going?" The shout was like a clap of thunder, echoing in the quiet courtyard. Dai Tang was so scared, her whole body trembled. "Eldest miss, why are you here?" Xiao Rongyu shot a cold glance over, scaring Dai Tang into silence. Then she coldly ordered me, "Xiao Qiu Shui, stop right there." But it was as if I hadn't heard anything. I kept limping forward. My dismissive attitude made Xiao Rongyu's heart tighten, and a thought immediately flashed in her mind. He wants to leave the Xiao family. She strode quickly behind me, grabbing my arm. I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? I turned my head, saw it was Xiao Rongyu, and my expression changed. I really didn't hear her. In the first year of prison, my right ear was beaten deaf. Due to frequent slaps, even the hearing in my left ear isn't very good. Unless someone is talking to me up close, face to face, I often can't hear clearly. I stubbornly tried to pull my hand back, let go. Seeing me so stubborn, the guilt in Xiao Rongyu's heart was immediately replaced by an unknown flame of anger. Will you stop it? Today is a Yan's birthday. Wasn't it enough that you caused a scene in the banquet hall just now, and now you want to run away from home? Why are you so unreasonable? With that, she pulled my hand and started dragging me into the house. Come home with me right now. Dai Tang, standing by, anxiously tried to intervene. Miss, please be a little gentle. The young master is still injured. Hearing that, a flicker of pity crossed Xiao Rongyu's eyes, and her grip on me loosened a bit, but she didn't let go. She looked at me, her brow furrowed. Come home with me. I'd rather die outside than be in the Xiao house. I stubbornly shook her hand off. Xiao Rongyu was completely infuriated by me. Her reason was instantly consumed by rage. In her anger, she raised her foot and kicked my leg. Are you coming back or not? She just wanted to punish me a little, but she didn't expect me to let out a blood-curdling scream and fall heavily to the ground. I clutched my injured leg with both hands, my body convulsing. Beads of cold sweat poured down my forehead. Only pained groans could escape my throat. I was in too much pain to speak. Seeing my extremely pained appearance, a pang of pain spread through Xiao Rongyu's heart. I only kicked you lightly. Don't pretend to be pitiful. Her voice clearly carried a slight tremble and guilt. Dai Tang quickly squatted down. Young master, what's wrong? The bone-deep pain in my leg instantly pulled me back to my second year in prison. I no longer remembered why I was beaten, but I clearly remember that group of people raising heavy wooden clubs high and striking my calf one blow after another, with ferocious and vicious expressions. I cried and begged for mercy, but they still beat me crazily, breaking 6-arm-thick wooden clubs. They only stopped after breaking my leg. The leader grabbed me by the collar and warned, don't even think about reporting this to the guards. It's fine to tell you this. You've offended someone you shouldn't have. Someone specifically told us to take care of you. My vision started to blur. My body trembled violently. I kept mumbling, I was wrong. Don't hit me anymore. That voice was filled with fear and despair. Di Tang was already in tears. Anxiously, she asked, young master, what's wrong with you? I am in so much pain. Just those 3 short words were like steel needles stabbing into Xiao Rongyu's heart. I didn't use any force. How could you be in pain? Dai Tang carefully rolled up my pant leg. Immediately, a horrifying sight appeared before their eyes. My calf was severely deformed. The once straight bone was now bent at a strange angle. The skin was covered with a dense network of old and new scars. Some wounds hadn't fully healed yet, still red and swollen. Others had already scabbed over, leaving ugly marks. The entire leg. From the long-term torment and pain, I had somewhat atrophied muscles, looking both thin and frail. Xiao Rongyu's gaze was locked on my leg that was too gruesome to look at. Her body was as if frozen by a spell, standing rooted to the spot. Her mind felt like it had been hit by a heavy blow. How did it get like this? He was perfectly fine when he went to prison. It's only been 5 years. How could he? She mumbled. As if she suddenly thought of something, she couldn't speak another word. That was prison. How could an 18-year-old me have a good time in there? Her heart shattered into pieces, her eyes quickly turning red. Suppressing the twisting pain in her heart, she stepped forward to help me up. Disregarding everything else, she rushed into the villa. Her steps hurried and panicked, but when she reached the living room, she was shocked to realize she didn't even know which room was mine. All these years, she had cared so little for this younger brother. Dai Tang, where is Kyushu's room? Where is it? Eldest miss, this way. Di Tang hurriedly led the way. Xiao Rongyu followed closely behind Di Tang, but the further she walked, the tighter her brow furrowed. She never knew there was a room in the house that was so remote. When Dai Tang pushed open the storage room door, Xiao Rongyu saw a dark, damp room, filled with junk, without even a window. Her eyes filled with astonishment. Kyushui lives in this cramped space. There was only an old, rickety folding bed and a few simple daily necessities. The rest was all junk. The walls were stained yellow, emitting a musty smell. The corners were filled with cobwebs. Seeing such living conditions clearly, Xiao Rongyu seethed with anger. Dai Tang, how do you do your job? Kyushui is my biological brother, who allowed you to let him stay here. Di Tang felt both wronged and helpless. Eldest miss, weren't you the one who had the young master stay here in the first place? Have you forgotten? When did I? Halfway through her words, Xiao Rongyu suddenly fell silent. 8 years ago, on the day I was brought home, she told me to pick a room. I chose the guest room next to her bedroom. She immediately refused. I want to turn this room into a study. Pick another room. Then I chose the room next to Xiao Yan's bedroom. She refused again. Yan wants to turn this room into a game room. You can't stay there. Finally, I chose to stay in the attic. she still refused. If outsiders find out the young master of the Xiao family is living in an attic, wouldn't they laugh at our Xiao family? Dai Tang, are there no other rooms in the house? There is one, but it's just a storage room. Then clean up the storage room and let him stay there for now. The storage room she imagined was like a guest room, with good ventilation and excellent lighting, but she never expected the storage room wouldn't even have a window. An image of me spending day and night in this cold, lonely room unconsciously appeared in her mind. The pain in her heart intensified. Even the servants have their own bedrooms, but her own biological brother had to stay in a dark, damp storage room for 3 whole years. This realization almost suffocated her. A low pressure emanated from Xiao Rongyu's entire body. Dai Tang said hesitantly, "The storage room is damp. How about, eldest miss, you take the young master to my room?" "No need," Xiao Rongyu refused flatly. At this moment, her heart felt as if countless small needles were piercing it deeply. Each needle carried guilt and pity. She said in a hoarse voice, "Call Su Yu Dai. Tell her to come to my room." After speaking, she helped up the unconscious me and went straight to her own bedroom. Looking at Xiao Rongyu's somewhat hurried back, Dai Tang was happy for me. The eldest miss is finally concerned about the young master. Before, she always ignored the young master. Today, she finally looks like a big sister. She quickly called Su Yu Dai. "Dr. Bei, our young master is sick. Please come over quickly." 5 minutes later, Xiao Rongyu's door was pushed open. The voice arrived before the person. "I am telling you, young miss, are you afraid the world isn't chaotic enough? Xiao Yan is sick. You won't let him rest quietly in his own room, so why did you have to bring him to your room? Why is it him?" Su Yu Dai said as she walked in. When she saw me on the bed with a pale face, the teasing look on her face immediately vanished, replaced by contempt. "I don't treat reformed criminals." With that, she picked up her medical kit, ready to leave. "Dai." Xiao Rongyu frowned and called her back. Her tone carried a decisiveness that allowed no doubt. "He is my brother. Don't call him that." The coldness on Su Yu Dai's face was like condensing frost. "He's your brother? Then what about Xiao Yan? He's only related to you by blood. Xiao Yan is the family member who grew up with you. Ru Feng was the great young master of the Liu family, and he turned him into a vegetable. He only had to serve a short 5 years in prison, and after getting out, he can still live a normal life. But who will give Ru Feng a chance to wake up? His entire life has been ruined by him." A trace of distress appeared on Xiao Rongyu's face. Her hands unconsciously clenched and then released. On one side was guilt and the blood ties with me. On the other was Xiao Yan and Liu Rufeng, who suffered a great injustice after being bullied. She felt as if she were caught between 2 large rocks, in a dilemma. After all, he is my biological brother. Her voice held a hint of helplessness, but she remained stubbornly persistent. The corners of Su Yu Dai's mouth curved into a cold, sarcastic smile. "I don't care. Someone with a wicked heart like him, if you cure him, he will only go on to harm others. You die." Xiao Rongyu's voice was firm. Her unblinking eyes stared fixedly at Su Yu Dai. Her gaze held a firmness that permitted no refusal. "Help me check his body, especially his right leg." The two of them just looked at each other like that. A moment later, Su Yu Dai conceded. She let out a heavy sigh and put down the medical kit in her hands. She sighed reluctantly. "Fine, I'll check him, but don't expect me to treat him." She returned to the bedside, put down the medical kit, and somewhat roughly pulled up my pant leg. She occasionally muttered under her breath, "I really don't understand why you have to waste so much effort on him. A person like him should be left to fend for himself." Her complaints stopped abruptly when her eyes fell upon my emaciated leg. Her gaze was as if glued by superglue, staring at the deformed, broken leg. Waves of shock in her eyes assaulted her brain. She could only see that the bone in my right calf was twisted at a bizarre angle. The skin clung tightly to the protruding bone, with almost no excess fat. The scar at the fracture looked like a ferocious centipede, winding its way across the pale, almost translucent skin. There were also a few dark bruises around it. Su Yu Dai gently touched the location of my broken leg. Every touch horrified her. Her fingers trembled involuntarily. Although her heart was full of resistance and disgust towards me, as a doctor, from a professional standpoint, she could still immediately judge how severely this leg was injured. Was his leg like this before? This sentence immediately stirred astonishment and anger in Xiao Rongyu's eyes. How could that be? During his 3 years at home, his leg was always fine. Su Yu Dai understood instantly. The injury on my leg must have happened in prison. Suppressing the horror in her heart, Su Yu Dai continued to examine my body. The deeper she examined, the more her brows furrowed, and her expression grew more serious. My physical condition was truly terrible to the extreme. Long-term malnutrition had made my body extremely weak. A number of old and new wounds were intertwined, and it was unclear what had whipped me. Su Yu Dai couldn't bear to look any longer. Her voice grew hoarse. "Rongyu, come out here for a moment." Leading Su Yu Dai to the study, Xiao Rongyu said with a serious face, "Speak." Su Yu Dai tried to compose herself, gathering her words, and began to speak slowly. "Do you know how strong human bones are?" Xiao Rongyu shook her head. Su Yu Dai looked at her and said word by word, "The strength of human bones is quite high, especially the tibia and fibula in the leg. To cause a comminuted fracture, it usually requires a high-energy impact, like a severe traffic accident or a fall from a great height. Because he was in prison, those two scenarios are almost impossible. His leg looks more like it was hit by a blunt object. From the condition of the wound, he received almost no professional treatment after the injury. The leg bone was not set, it just healed on its own over time. That's why his leg ended up twisted and deformed. The pain during this process is hard for an ordinary person to imagine. It's truly a miracle that he has endured until now. Listening to Su Yu-dai's words, Xiao Rongyu's body began to tremble lightly, uncontrollably. Her eyes immediately filled with red veins. Anger like molten lava churned in her chest. How dare they? The image of me being tortured in prison kept flashing in her mind, my frail body being beaten repeatedly with a blunt object. The dull ache in her heart made her feel dizzy. It was a long while before she managed to suppress her fury. Yu-dai, can Chiu Shu's leg still recover? Su Yu-dai reluctantly shook her head. The injury on his leg is at least 3 years old. It's too late to treat it now. Xiao Rongyu stood frozen on the spot. She didn't know when Su Yu-dai had left. When she came to her senses, she had already collapsed onto a chair. Her mind was blank. She clutched her head in pain, her fingers digging deep into her hair. Her body curled up, trembling slightly, as suppressed gasps occasionally escaped her throat. Time seemed to freeze in that moment. Only her pain spread through the air. After a long time, her breathing gradually stabilized. With an icy expression, she picked up her phone and quickly made a call. Secretary Tang, help me investigate what Xiao Chu Shui went through in prison. During those 5 years, it must be very detailed. Her voice was low and cold, as if each word carried a frost. After hanging up the phone, she sat in the chair, her eyes staring blankly ahead. It took a long time for her to regain her composure before getting up and leaving the study. Standing in front of the bedroom door, she momentarily lacked the courage to push it open. The closed door was like an invisible barrier, separating her from me lying inside. While she was hesitating, a maid hurried over. Young miss, the young master's birthday party is about to start. Please hurry over. Xiao Rongyu hesitated for a moment, gave a deep look into the bedroom, and finally turned around quietly, following the maid to the banquet hall. In the hall, Xiao Yan was surrounded by everyone, like stars surrounding the moon. He stood before a magnificent birthday cake. As everyone sang the birthday song for him in unison, the singing stopped. He took a deep breath and blew out the candles. Immediately, colorful balloons and ribbons flew out. Everyone cheered and wished Xiao Yan a happy birthday. That sound echoed in the banquet hall, lingering for a long time. Xiao Rongyu stood in the crowd, looking at those radiant faces, but in her mind, she unconsciously pictured the image of me, weak and pale, lying in bed. She wanted to smile too, but she couldn't bring herself to. Everyone cheerfully gathered around to share the cake. But Xiao Rongyu went to a corner by herself, took a glass of champagne, and downed it in one gulp. The wine trickled down from the corner of her mouth, wetting her evening gown, but she didn't care. One glass after another, as if fighting against the pain and guilt in her heart. Before long, her steps became unsteady, and her body swayed. The cheers and laughter of the people around her became vague and distant in her ears. Relying on her last shred of consciousness, she staggered out of the banquet hall. Before she reached her bedroom, a wave of nausea churned in her stomach. She rushed into the bathroom, gripped the sink, and vomited violently. After she finished vomiting, she gasped for breath. Her chaotic mind finally cleared up a bit. She turned on the faucet and splashed cold water on her face. This time, her mind was completely clear. She braced her hands on the sink and looked up at the mirror. She mocked herself. I haven't done anything wrong. Why am I tormenting myself? This is crazy. Just then, her phone suddenly rang. She took it out and looked. It was a call from Secretary Tang. Xiao Rongyu wiped the water from her face, then answered the phone and spoke. Xiao Rongyu's voice was bone-chillingly cold. Secretary Tang's voice was full of static. Xiao Rongyu was a little displeased. What is it? Well, CEO, you need to prepare yourself. The voice on the phone was extremely suppressed. Xiao Rongyu's heart tightened. She realized that Secretary Tang's next words would be very cruel, but she still said firmly, speak. Secretary Tang on the other end took a deep breath. CEO, after young master Xiao Cho Shui went to prison, he was beaten almost every day, including but not limited to being slapped, forced to drink toilet water, deprived of sleep, and forced to kneel and kowtow. If he didn't obey, they would cut his hands with sharp objects. Xiao Rongyu's fingers holding the phone suddenly tightened. Even her breathing became ragged. Where would they get sharp objects in prison? Made from soda cans during mealtime. Xiao Rongyu suppressed her anger and continued to speak. The time young master Xiao Chu Shui was beaten most severely was when those inmates broke 6 wooden sticks, as thick as an adult's arm, breaking his leg, and he had to be hospitalized immediately. Xiao Rongyu felt as if someone was about to rip her heart out, the pain causing her entire body to tremble. Her eyes were bloodshot. CEO, I also found out that someone instructed those inmates to give special care to young master Xiao Q Shui, and the inmates who beat him all had their sentences reduced. A year ago, young master Xiao Qio Shui was hospitalized again, but I couldn't find out the reason for that hospitalization. It must have been a severe beating, very serious, because after he was discharged that time, the prison moved him to a solitary cell. He was never beaten again. This time, Xiao Rongyu's anger could no longer be suppressed. Who was it? Secretary Tang had been with Xiao Rongyu since she became CO, and was the person who understood his boss the best, so he immediately understood what she was talking about. It was Liu Rufeng's older sister. Liu Ru Yan, the fiancée betrothed to Xiao Yan since birth. To be precise, she should be young master Xiao Qiu Shui's fiancé, since he's the real young master of the Xiao family after all. The air seemed to freeze. The silence was a bit long. Secretary Tang's cautious voice sounded. CEO. Cancel all cooperation with the Liu family. Launch an all-out attack on the Liu family's businesses. Xiao Rongyu's voice was hoarse and cold. Secretary Tang couldn't help but shudder upon hearing this. CEO, doing this will also affect our Xiao Corporation. Just do as I say. Also, I don't want to see those who bullied Qiu Shui get out of prison in one piece. Xiao Rongyu slowly put the phone down, her hands hanging limply at her sides. Her mind was filled with images of me struggling in pain as I was beaten. I used to be a boy with an innocent, cheerful, and bright smile, but now I have been tortured beyond recognition. Even if he had committed a crime, the law sentenced me to 5 years in prison. He really didn't deserve to be tortured so wantonly. After a long while, she came out of the bathroom and once again stood before the bedroom door. She had to mentally prepare herself for a while before pushing the door open. However, before she could even step inside, she heard me begging for forgiveness. I was wrong. Don't hit me. Every word spoken in the nightmare was like a dagger, stabbing straight into Xiao Rongyu, leaving her with no courage to take another step. She retreated into the study in a panic. Late at night, the study was pitch black. Xiao Rongyu's phone rang incessantly, for a long time with no answer, until it automatically disconnected. Elsewhere, a sleeping Father Xiao was woken by the ringing of his phone. He fumbled on the headboard for his phone. It's unknown what was said on the other end, but Father Xiao, who was drowsy a second before, suddenly shot up in bed the next second. What? This shout also woke Mother Xiao. In the middle of the night, what are you making such a racket for? Father Xiao was red with anger. Xiao Rongyu dared to terminate the cooperation with the Liu family. In less than a night, the Xiao family has lost $1 billion. Impossible. Mother Xiao was in slight disbelief. How is it impossible? Ru Yan personally called to demand an explanation. Father Xiao threw off the blanket and got out of bed, angrily striding to Xiao Rongyu's bedroom, pushing the door open hard. After Father Xiao entered the room, he immediately began to question Xiao Rongyu. Get the hell up. Why did you unilaterally cancel? The rest of his words were stuck in his throat. He stared blankly at me on the bed, his mind momentarily unable to think. I was awakened by his shout and was also stunned. I couldn't quite process where I was. Mother Xiao exclaimed in surprise as soon as she entered. Qiu Shui, why are you sleeping in your sister's bed? I stood frozen on the spot. Didn't Xiao Rongyu hate me? Why would she let me sleep in her room? You should know that in the 3 years at the Xiao house, Xiao Yan could freely enter and leave her bedroom, but I was never allowed to take even half a step inside. The expressions on Father Xiao and Mother Xiao's faces were very ugly, their eyes scanning the room for Xiao Rongyu, but she was nowhere to be seen in the bedroom. Father Xiao asked me, with a cold face, where is your sister? I glanced at him indifferently and said nothing. I limped my way out, but Father Xiao and Mother Xiao blocked the door, blocking my path. Seeing that they had no intention of moving, I frowned slightly. Please move aside. Father Xiao was already furious about the Xiao and Liu corporations ceasing their cooperation, and now my indifferent attitude towards him, like a stranger, made him even angrier. I am your father. Is this how you treat your elders? Truly without any upbringing. I don't know who spoiled you into having these bad habits. Mother Xiao hurriedly tried to make peace. Why are you being so fierce with our son? If there's something to say it calmly. Father Xiao snorted coldly. Then you ask him. He's not sleeping in his own room. So what is he doing running to his sister's room? He's not a child anymore. He's already starting trouble on his first day back. Even if it's his own biological sister, he can't just run into her room in the middle of the night to sleep in her bed. I am scolding him for his own good. Why don't I scold a Yan? A Yan wouldn't do something so filthy. Who knows what intentions he has? Maybe. All right. Mother Xiao hurriedly cut him off. But even without saying it, everyone could guess what he was about to say. My heart clenched in pain. I knew the Xiao family didn't like me, but I never thought that in the heart of my own father, my image was so terrible. Xiao Rongyu is my biological sister. What kind of intentions could I possibly have? The person who can say such things is the truly filthy one. I hid the hurt in my eyes, and when I looked up, my face was indifferent. Are you done talking? If you're done, please move. I want to go out. Father Xiao's chest heaved with anger, and he stood there without moving. His gaze became colder and sharper. Mother Xiao's worried expression deepened. Qiu Shui, why are you being so stubborn? Hurry and tell your father. Where on earth did your sister go? I don't know. With that, I turned sideways, intending to slip past them. Suddenly, my arm was grabbed by a large, cold hand and violently thrown backward. I immediately fell to the ground. My injured leg twisted once again, and the pain was so intense I was sprawled on the ground, unable to get up. Mother Xiao gasped in shock. Mr. Xiao, are you crazy? If you don't explain yourself clearly today, don't even think about stepping out of this door. I suppressed the pain and looked up, meeting Father Xiao's fierce gaze. His eyes were full of malice, Not like the look one gives their own flesh and blood, but like looking at prey that he could manipulate. I hate this look. I couldn't help but want to flee. I pushed myself up slowly with both hands and tried to speak calmly. I really don't know where Miss Xiao is. Instead of asking me, you might as well call her, right? Right, make a phone call. Mother Xiao hurriedly called Xiao Rongyu. The next second, they heard a phone ringing from the study, next to the bedroom. After Father Xiao and Mother Xiao exchanged glances, they rushed towards the study. As soon as they pushed the door open, the strong smell of alcohol hit them in the face. Turning on the light, they saw Xiao Rongyu huddled in a corner, with empty wine bottles scattered by her feet. Stimulated by the light, Xiao Rongyu slowly opened her eyes. Seeing this, Father Xiao became even more enraged, pointing at her and shouting, "Look at the state you're in." Xiao Rongyu indifferently swirled the wine glass in her hand, then tossed it aside. Father Xiao was furious. "Tell me why you suddenly terminated the cooperation with the Liu family? The Liu family is an important partner of ours, and besides, a Yan and Ru Yan are engaged. When you did this, did you consider a Yan's feelings?" The corners of Xiao Rongyu's mouth curved into a sarcastic smile, her voice somewhat hoarse and drunken. "When Liu Ru Yan had someone bully Q Shui, did she think about these things? What are you talking about?" Xiao Rongyu struggled to her feet. "Liu Ru Yan instigated inmates in prison to beat up Q Shui. Do you know why Q Shui's leg is lame? Because his leg was broken by them." With every word she spoke, Father Xiao and Mother Xiao's eyes widened. Impossible. Xiao Rongyu tapped her phone a few times. The next second, Father Xiao's and Mother Xiao's phones rang. "Look at it. This is the file Secretary Tang investigated." In the document, every line of cold text and, one by one, the horrifying photos appeared, cruelly exposing what I had gone through in prison, the inhumane treatment I had to endure. Mother Xiao instinctively covered her mouth. Father Xiao's expression grew complicated, his brows furrowed, and after a long moment, he slowly spoke. "Wrong. You were still too impulsive." Xiao Rongyu looked up, her expression emotionless. "Did you want me to just stand by and watch my brother get bullied and do nothing?" Father Xiao was silent for a long while before letting out a deep sigh. "What you did was kill 1,000 enemies while sacrificing 800 of your own, terminating the cooperation between our two families. For us, brings the Xiao family no benefit at all." As if to prove his words, his phone rang immediately. After answering the call, Father Xiao's expression grew uglier and uglier. "Look, just because of one decision you made, our Xiao family has lost 1 billion. Xiao Rongyu's lips trembled slightly, but in the end, she just pressed them tightly together. Silence. Tiu Shui, Mother Xiao, beside them, had long lost her composure, anxiously pacing back and forth on the spot. Her hands wouldn't stop ringing. "What should we do now? What are we going to do about this?" Father Xiao slowly exhaled. "The only way is to restore our cooperation with the Liu family." After saying that, he called Liu Ru Yan. The moment the call connected, the atmosphere in the study seemed to freeze. Father Xiao's expression changed constantly. With the progression of the call, his eyebrows would furrow, then relax. Finally, the call ended. Father Xiao slowly put down his phone. Mother Xiao's voice carried a hint of trembling anticipation. "What did Ru Yan say?" "She said she can cooperate with us again, but she demands that Q Shui personally go to the hospital tomorrow and kneel to apologize to her brother." Just then, Xiao Yan's voice suddenly rang out. "It's so late. What are you doing standing in front of sister's room?" I looked at Xiao Yan calmly. "Nothing yet." Xiao Yan looked as if he was scared. His body trembled, and his feet kept backing away. "What do you want?" Father Xiao angrily pushed me away. "What do you want to do to a Yan?" I couldn't stand firm, staggering backward. My body hit the railing, almost falling from the second floor. Father Xiao and Mother Xiao both stood by Xiao Yan's side, watching me with wary expressions. Xiao Rongyu opened her mouth to scold me, but the words died on her lips. Thinking of the hardships I had suffered in prison, she couldn't bring herself to say those hurtful words. My gaze was cold, but the slight curl of my lips still revealed my mockery. This is my family. The moment Xiao Yan suffers the slightest grievance, I become everyone's target. When I still cared about this family, a single glance or word from them could affect my emotions. Now that I no longer care, facing their misunderstanding, my heart is completely still. I no longer feel a single flicker of emotion. I didn't explain, I just lowered my gaze. This appearance of not caring what others say, that I couldn't care less, cut Xiao Rongyu's heart like a knife. She couldn't help but ask with concern, "Are you hurt?" I looked up at her, surprised. For a moment, I couldn't connect the person before me with the one who had verbally abused me. Habits are truly terrifying. She shows me a little concern, and I find it unfamiliar. "It doesn't hurt," I said, nonchalantly. The pain from that collision wasn't even 1/10,000th of the pain from my broken leg. Xiao Rongyu spoke again. "You heard everything just now, didn't you?" I was stunned for a moment, then realized what she was talking about. I let out a soft snort. "So what?" To vent my anger, she cut off cooperation with the Liu family, causing the Xiao family and the Liu family to lose 1 billion overnight. Paying such a heavy price, doesn't she deserve a word of gratitude from me? A nameless fire from her heart spread straight to her stomach. It felt like swallowing 100 needles, and her stomach immediately churned violently. Her stomach ailment had flared up again. As if to punish me, Xiao Rongyu stared at me with a pale face. Before, whenever she had a stomachache, I was always the most worried. She hoped to see worry and pain on my face. Even if it was just a simple word of concern from me, everything she did today would have been worth it. But there was no expression on my face at all. My gaze didn't even linger on her for an extra second, let alone pity. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. My expression was calm, but my words were so heartless. Under the gaze of 4 pairs of eyes, I turned around, walking unsteadily but firmly down the stairs, one step at a time. Xiao Rongyu leaned against the railing with both hands, watching me, her eyes filled with pain and disappointment. It shouldn't be like this. I clearly cared so much about her before. When she had a stomachache, I would cry while looking for her medicine, wishing I could bear all the pain for her. Why don't I care anymore? She suppressed her pain and called out to me. I subconsciously stopped. Seeing this, a flicker of hope appeared in Xiao Rongyu's eyes. Even her voice softened unconsciously, carrying a hint of grievance. Ayu showy, my stomach hurts. She was giving me an out, but who made the rule that I had to take the out she offered? I looked up at Xiao Rongyu, a faint, sarcastic smile playing on my lips. If Miss Xiao has a stomachache, she should call a doctor, not me. Xiao Rongyu heard the sound of her own heart breaking. All her hope, in the face of my calm and rippleless expression, became utterly ridiculous. An instant chill enveloped her entire body. Her body could no longer support her, and she collapsed to the ground. But her hands gripped the railing tightly, staring at me through the gaps between the bars. I turned and walked away again, with no intention of paying her any mind. My indifference infuriated Father Xiao. He roared at my retreating back. Xiao Chu Shui, get back here. Get your sister's medicine. Now. Mother Xiao tearfully begged me. Hu Shui, you were always the one who took care of your sister's stomach problems. How can you just stand by and watch so indifferently? Even Xiao Yan began to eloquently condemn me. I know you were in prison for 5 years, and you have resentment in your heart, but you can't joke around with sister's life. Aren't you the one who knows best which medicine works for her? I stopped again. The Xiao family thought I had been persuaded, but when I turned around, they saw that I was smiling. It was just a smile that hid daggers. So it turns out my sacrifices, it's not that you didn't see them, but that you saw them and simply didn't care. You couldn't be bothered. If that's the case, then I'll take it all back. From now on, whether you members of the Xiao family live well or poorly, live or die, has nothing to do with me. After all, you have no feelings for me, and conveniently, my feelings for you have also run dry. These words were like a club to the head, striking the hearts of the Xiao family hard. Mother Xiao cried even more heart-wrenchingly. It's not like that. Chu Shui, you were the son I carried for 10 months. The son I yearned for day and night. How could I not care about you? Father Xiao's face turned pale, then green. This time he was truly furious. Why did we give birth to you? This ungrateful, heartless son. If we had known you were so incorrigible and so full of jealousy, we shouldn't have brought you back in the first place. So you couldn't turn our home upside down. Mother Xiao's crying subsided. She tugged on Father Xiao's arm. Don't talk to our son like that. Father Xiao glared at me. Xiao Yan advised from the side. Father, it's only right that he resents me. I am the one who took the position of the Xiao family's young master, and I am the one who enjoyed the love that was never meant for me. After saying that, he looked at me. I can leave. I just hope you won't make father and mother angry anymore, and don't just watch sister die without helping. I just calmly watched them perform. After they had all finished speaking, I finally said slowly, Are you done? If you're done, I am going to sleep. This uncaring, nonchalant attitude of mine drove Father Xiao insane with anger. He pointed at me, his eyes full of disappointment. Didn't you say you have no feelings for this family? Then what did you come back for? You're a convict who was in prison for 5 years, a stain on the entire Xiao family. Who allowed you to come back? You can leave right now. No one is stopping you. In the years you weren't home, our lives were so happy. You just got back and you're giving us this attitude, acting like we owe you something. You remember this? Just for the fact that your mother and I gave birth to you, we don't owe you anything in this lifetime. Even though I knew they didn't care about me, Father Zhao's words still made my heart ache with stabbing pain. The fact that he doesn't love me, he doesn't even want to pretend. Luckily, I hid it very well. From my stubborn appearance, no one could see the wounded soul within. I looked up, seriously looking at the family of 4 standing on the 2nd floor. I will leave the Xiao family right now. From today on, I sever all ties with the Xiao family. Mr. Zhao, Mrs. Xiao, rest assured, I will absolutely never bother you again. Even if I die outside, I will not come back. I added silently in my heart. I no longer have any attachment to this house. After being hurt so badly for those 3 years, I learned my lesson long ago. How could I dare to hope for familial love that doesn't belong to me? This time my steps were very fast. My broken legs strained and hurt a lot, but I gritted my teeth and endured. My gloomy eyes finally had a light in them. It was the light of breaking free from shackles to embrace freedom. Soon, I had opened the living room door and stepped outside, without a trace of reluctance. Xiao Rongyu's pupils constricted. She wanted to chase after me, but the cramping pain in her stomach left her. With no strength to stand up, she could only scream towards the slowly closing door. Xiao Chu Shui, you come back here. This scream echoed through the vast living room and also drained all her strength, but I didn't turn back. I only faintly heard someone seemingly shouting something. I couldn't hear clearly what it was. After all, the door behind me had closed, and the hearing in my right ear is poor. Whatever they were shouting, it no longer had anything to do with me. The moment I stepped out of the Xiao family villa, my suppressed nerves finally relaxed. I quickened my pace. Originally, I planned to find a hotel to stay in for one night, then find a job tomorrow morning. Now, I've changed my mind. I want to leave Jiangcheng. I heard what the three members of the Xiao family said in the study. Father, Xiao clearly wants to follow Liu Ruyan's wishes, forcing me to go to the hospital and kneel before Liu Rufeng's sickbed to atone. They clearly know that Liu Rufeng ended up in a vegetative state because Xiao Yan pushed him down the stairs, but they still insist on making me take the blame for Xiao Yan. I longed for familial love, and for that, I paid the price with 5 years in prison, a broken leg, a deaf ear, and even lost a kidney. My body is already covered in wounds. I can't take any more. Now, they want me to pay the price for Xiao Rongyu's impulsiveness. For the sake of the Xiao Corporation, I am sure the Xiao family will come looking for me again. I resent the Xiao family, and I am even more afraid of Liu Ruyan. I already experienced her methods of torture in prison. That was the darkest period of my life. I don't want to experience it ever again. My body can't withstand any more torment, so I have to leave Jiangcheng as soon as possible, go to a place where they can't find me, and live out the rest of my life in peace. I counted the money in my hand, exactly 2,000 yuan. Aunt Tang gave it all to me. Thinking of Aunt Tang, my eyes grew moist. I don't know if I'll ever have the chance to repay her kindness. I took a taxi to South City train station. Luckily, I was able to buy a train ticket departing at 1 a.m. I just need to wait 1 more hour, and I can be on my way to Gangcheng. I found a quiet, empty corner to sit down and rest. Because my hearing is poor, while I was dozing off, I seemed to hear an announcement from the platform. Dear passengers, please note, the train from Jiangcheng to Gangcheng has begun boarding. I quickly looked towards the ticket gate. Passengers were already lining up to have their tickets checked. I couldn't contain my excitement. As soon as I get my ticket checked, once I am on the train, the Xiao family won't be able to find me anymore. I didn't hesitate any longer, hurriedly getting up to go line up at the ticket gate. I followed closely behind the person in front of me. When it was my turn, I immediately handed my ticket to the ticket inspector. Just as the staff member reached for the ticket, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and snatched the ticket from my hand. Turning my head to look, my pupils suddenly constricted. It was Xiao Rongyu. Why was she here? Beside her were several tall bodyguards from the Xiao family. She spoke with a pale face. It's so late. Where are you planning to go? I didn't care what she was saying. All I wanted was to escape. Unexpectedly, the next second, the bodyguards came forward and pinned me down. No matter how I struggled, I couldn't break free. My body felt like a fragile leaf, swept away by a powerful force, completely powerless to resist. Thinking about how once the Xiao family hands me over to Liu Ruyan, with that woman's cruel methods, I will surely die. In my desperation, I cried out for help to the crowd at the ticket gate. Help. I don't know them. My cries for help echoed through the empty station, immediately attracting the attention of the other passengers. Most people hesitated, but some kind-hearted people stepped forward to intervene, only to be stopped in their tracks by a single sentence from Xiao Rongyu. He's my younger brother. He had a little fight with the family and is trying to run away from home. Are you sure you want to get involved? As soon as she finished speaking, the Xiao family's bodyguards all took a step forward in unison. The passengers all hesitated. No one dared to step forward to save me. Despair welled up in my heart, but I still didn't want to give up on saving myself. Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, I had to try my best to pull myself out of this pit of suffering. My gaze quickly swept across the crowd, finally landing on the face of a woman around 50 years old. She happened to make eye contact with me. Tears streamed down my face, and I cried out to the woman, Mom. The auntie, who had been standing at the ticket gate, hesitating whether to help or not, I heard my call, and her expression immediately changed. Hope surged in my heart, and I continued to cry out to her for help. The auntie's body seemed to be propelled by some force, and she rushed towards me, disregarding everything. It wasn't just her, but all the women in the station turned their heads when they heard my shout. The auntie rushed over and shielded me, forcefully batting away the bodyguard's hand. What do you think you're doing? A flash of anger crossed Xiao Rongyu's face. This is our family matter. Don't you butt in. The auntie held me tightly with both arms, her eyes firm. What family matter? I just heard my son crying for help. Xiao Rongyu didn't want to waste words on her and ordered the bodyguards to act. Just then, a group of people surrounded them. For the first time in my life, being protected by so many people, I couldn't hold back my tears. The auntie patted my back comfortingly. Don't cry. If you don't want to go with your family, then don't go. I looked at the auntie in front of me, utterly astonished. She clearly knew they weren't human traffickers. The auntie just smiled, because you don't want to. Even if they are your family, they have no right to restrain you. Family isn't necessarily about blood ties, and having blood ties doesn't guarantee a good family. If your family makes you unhappy and only brings you pain, then they aren't your family. They are shackles that bind you. You can absolutely let them go with a clear conscience, without any moral burden. A child surrounded by love wouldn't be as skinny as you are. I believe you must have suffered a great injustice, to want to run away at all costs. My tears burst forth. The understanding that my own parents couldn't give me, I felt it from a stranger, an auntie. Auntie, thank you. Besides thank you, I have nothing else. The auntie gave me a push. My body involuntarily moved forward a few steps. Run. Run as far as you can. Don't ever let the people who hurt you find you. I gave the auntie a deep look, then ran out of the station. At this moment, I even forgot that one of my legs was broken. There was only one thought in my mind. Run. The Xiao family could find their way to South City train station, so they could definitely find out I wanted to go to Gangcheng. I can't go to Gangcheng anymore. I can't use my ID anymore either. Even if I have to walk on my own 2 feet, I must get to a place far, far away from Gangcheng. Behind me, I heard Xiao Rongyu's voice calling. I didn't turn back. Seeing the station exit right in front of me, hope flashed in my eyes. But just as I stepped through the exit gate, everything suddenly went dark. A hand holding a handkerchief was suddenly clamped over my mouth. Before I could struggle, my mind went blank. My consciousness gradually faded. In my haze, I seemed to hear a mocking voice. Ron Yu, your little brother really is a handful. When I woke up again, I was in a car. As soon as I opened my eyes, Xiao Rongyu's cold, sarcastic voice rang in my ear. Finally decided to wake up. In that moment, my heart sank to the abyss. I had tried my best to save myself, but after all that, I was still caught by Xiao Rongyu. This made all my previous efforts seem ridiculous. I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene, nor did I pay any attention to Xiao Rongyu. Instead, I went straight to pull on the car door. What now? Want to jump out of the car? The car doors are locked. Don't waste your energy. The woman's voice rose slightly, as if mocking my inability to gauge my own strength. I turned back to look at her with an emotionless expression. Xiao Rongyu, do you feel that because you can manipulate my life, you're so clever? Xiao Rongyu was rendered speechless. This look of having everything under her control is what I hate the most about her. If you're so capable, then watch over me every single day. Otherwise, if I can escape once, I can escape a second time. Xiao Rongyu's expression darkened. You dare? Xiao Rongyu stared at me intently. Not showing any weakness, I stared right back at her. I've long had nothing left, so what is there not to dare? This was the first time that Xiao Rongyu saw in my eyes the disgust I had for her. In her impression, I was supposed to be the one who obeyed her every word, obedient and submissive, putting her feelings above all else. In those 3 years, she had long grown accustomed to my compliance, as well as my unrestrained adoration for her. She couldn't accept how quickly my attitude had changed. For my sake, she didn't hesitate to offend Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan is Xiao Yan's fiancé. Consequently, she also hurt Xiao Yan. She's already done this much, what more could I be dissatisfied with? She said fiercely. Xiao Chu Shui, if you dare to run away again, I'll fire Auntie Tang. My heart clenched. Auntie Tang was the only person in the entire Xiao family who was kind to me. If she lost her job because of me, I would feel guilty for the rest of my life. My hands clenched into fists, and I pretended not to care. You're firing your own maid? What does that have to do with me? As long as I don't care, Auntie Tang won't be fired by Xiao Rongyu. Right? As I was thinking this, Xiao Rongyu sneered again. Really? Then I won't just fire Auntie Tang, but I'll also have her son expelled from school. Auntie Tang's son is named Lu Han. He's a sophomore in college this year. 5 years ago, when he was in 9th grade, he rode his bike, braving the rain to bring me my college entrance exam admission ticket. Because the rain made the road slippery, he accidentally fell and broke his right arm, nearly preventing him from taking the exam. After I finished my college entrance exam and came home, Auntie Tang told me that my admission ticket had been thrown into the trash by someone. If Auntie Tang hadn't discovered it in time, it would have been taken away and disposed of by the sanitation workers. I owe Auntie Tang and Lu Han too great a debt. If, because of me, mother and son were to lose their jobs and education, it would be more painful than killing me. My entire body tensed up, but the flames of anger in my heart were about to become uncontrollable. Seeing my silence, Xiao Rongyu thought I still hadn't given in. She continued to sneer. I hear Auntie Tang's son is a very good student. He gets scholarships all year round. If he were to be expelled from school, a resounding slap from me cut Xiao Rongyu off. It also sent her head snapping to one side. Seeing it all in the rearview mirror, Bai Ningbing's eyes widened. She couldn't have dreamed of such an absurd thing, but it really did happen. She thought I was a coward, but didn't expect that I would also bare my claws. It really proves the saying that a rabbit will bite when cornered. Compared to the meek me, a defiant me was more interesting to her. Bai Ningbing, enjoying the drama, laughed and said, Rongyu, does it hurt? Xiao Rongyu's expression was so dark, it looked like it could drip water. My body was thin and weak, and I hadn't eaten or drunk for a day and a night, so my slap on her face was light. It didn't hurt at all, but being slapped isn't a matter of whether your face hurts or not. Xiao Rongyu was heartbroken that her younger brother shouldn't be so disobedient. This unexpected slap made Xiao Rongyu completely furious. Her eyes immediately turned bloodshot. She suddenly reached out with both hands, clamped them around my neck like iron tongs, and pinned me down on the seat. I only felt a sharp pain in my neck, and I couldn't breathe. It felt like I was about to explode. Every breath became incredibly difficult. Gradually, my face started to turn purple. Bai Ningbing quickly said, "Rong Yu, stop choking him. You're going to choke him to death." Xiao Rong Yu spoke cruelly, but her hand loosened. "It to be good if he died." Bai Ningbing was displeased. "If you're going to die, don't die in my car. I'd find that unlucky." Xiao Rong Yu suddenly let go. I was like a broken doll, slumping to one side of the seat, coughing violently. Xiao Rong Yu glared at me fiercely and roared, "You listen to me carefully. This is the last time you'll go against my wishes. If you dare do this again, the fate of Auntie Tang and her son will be much worse than you can imagine." Her voice echoed in the cramped space of the car, carrying an undeniable threat. I lowered my eyes, hiding the disgust in my gaze. No one spoke for the rest of the journey. An hour later, they arrived at the Xiao family home. As soon as I got out of the car, my parents rushed out to greet me, reaching out to grab me. I snatched my hand back as if I'd been electrocuted. My parents' hands froze in midair, a flash of embarrassment on their faces, but he quickly adjusted his expression and said with a pained look, "Tio Shui, my child, why are you so stubborn? Your mother was just speaking out of anger. Why did you take it seriously? Don't do this again next time. You don't know how worried your father was." Xiao Yan also hurried over, putting his arms around our parents and chiming in, "Brother, you really scared us to death." My face was cold. I stood there silently, waiting for them to finish talking. Then I started walking straight inside. This attitude of mine angered Xiao Rongyu once again. She shouted loudly, "Xiao Cho Shui, stop right there. Father and Nanthu care about you. Can't you feel it?" I stopped and turned my head to look at the not yet fully dry hair and the pajamas on my parents and Xiao Yan. I mocked Father Xiao and young Master Xiao. "Were you worried about me while you were bathing, or worried about me while you were sleeping?" It was very clear that after I left the Xiao house, this father and son had already showered and were preparing for bed. They didn't have any time to worry about me. The atmosphere fell into an awkward silence. Father Xiao's gaze unconsciously shifted away. Xiao Rongyu was stunned. Her lips parted as if to explain, but she found she couldn't come up with any excuse. I had long since seen through this family's hypocrisy. I wasn't surprised by the commotion tonight. I walked straight into the villa, without looking at anyone else. The night grew deeper. Xiao Rongyu lay on her large, soft bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. After hesitating for a long time, she couldn't help but get up and go downstairs, heading towards my storage room. That was no place for a person to live. To put it bluntly, even the doghouse in the mansion was more luxurious than this storage room. Standing in front of the storage room door, she hesitated for a long time, not daring to knock, but she didn't want to leave either. She wavered like this, standing in front of the door for a full half hour. Finally, when pangs of hunger shot through her stomach, she had no choice but to leave. The next day, I slept quite well. I don't know if it was because I was too tired last night, or because my spirit was too relaxed after leaving prison. Compared to me, the complexions of the 4 members of the Xiao family didn't look very good. Especially Xiao Rongyu, who had large dark circles under her eyes. It was obvious she hadn't slept well last night. The whole family gathered around the dining table. Father Xiao said sternly, "Choose Shui. Later the driver will take you to Haisheng, First People's Hospital. As long as you let Ru Yan see your sincerity, I believe she absolutely won't make things difficult for you, and will continue to cooperate with our Xiao Corporation." I lowered my eyes and said nothing. Seeing this, Father Xiao's anger immediately flared up. "Are you mute?" Mother Xiao quickly tried to smooth things over. "Let's eat first. We can talk about it after we eat." This morning's breakfast was Western style. The maid placed the prepared breakfast sets in front of Father and Mother Xiao, Xiao Rongyu, and Xiao Yan, but only my portion was missing. The atmosphere in the dining room instantly dropped to freezing point. Everyone's actions seemed to have been put on pause. Father Xiao frowned slightly, but didn't say anything. Mother Xiao looked a bit unnatural, and for a moment couldn't think of a way to resolve the awkwardness. Only Xiao Rongyu threw the cutlery in her hand onto the table. With a clang, she startled the maid, who trembled. "What is this?" The maid shrank back and stammered, "Eldest miss. The meals in this house have always been prepared for 4 people. Therefore, her explanation seemed feeble. Not only did it fail to appease Xiao Rongyu, but it was like adding fuel to the fire. "So what? Are you blind? Can't you see my biological brother is back? Or did you see him and deliberately not make my brother's portion?" The maid wanted to explain, but was impatiently cut off by Xiao Rongyu. "You're fired." The maid's face was filled with horror, and she looked to Xiao Yan for help, but seeing Xiao Yan just kept his head down, she didn't know what he was thinking. Father Xiao cleared his throat. "Auntie Tang, make 1 more portion." Auntie Tang's face showed a look of joy, and she hurried into the kitchen. Xiao Yan's eyes darted around, and he immediately put on a caring expression, pushing his breakfast in front of me. I didn't look at him, nor did I say anything, but I didn't refuse his kind gesture either. I really was hungry. I picked up my chopsticks and started to eat. My movements were neither fast nor slow, as if all the awkwardness and the disputes around me had nothing to do with me. Xiao Yan looked at me expectantly, as if waiting for me to say something to him, but after waiting for a long time, I didn't even give him a single glance. His expression gradually turned to disappointment, looking as if he had been wronged. Father Xiao tapped the table to remind me, but I continued to eat my breakfast, not even lifting my head. He coughed loudly. I was unmoved. Mother Xiao couldn't stand it anymore. Her tone was a little disappointed. Qiu Shui, look how much your younger brother cares for you. Hurry up and thank him. So this was what all that was for. Can't even let a person eat breakfast in peace. What kind of submission test is this? I was submissive for 3 years and got none of their sincerity. In return, if I still blindly obeyed them, then it'd be a fool who never learns. I put down my chopsticks and glanced around at them. Thank him for what? Thank him for taking over my life? Or thank him for sowing discord and framing me? Or thank him for giving me 5 years in prison? Just for eating one of his breakfasts. You all demand that I thank him. Then for the 3 years I was in this house, I didn't get to eat a single bite of breakfast or lunch, and at night, not only did I have to eat everyone's leftovers, but I was also verbally abused by all of you. Shouldn't all of you apologize to me first? What they couldn't do themselves, they demanded of me. Such double standards. Father and Mother Xiao's eyes filled with even more disappointment. It's all in the past. Why can't you just let it go? The wounds are on my body, yet my parents tell me it's in the past. On what grounds? Father and Mother Xiao clutched their chests in extreme heartache. Father Xiao's anger finally erupted uncontrollably. On the grounds that I am your father, you must obey. Xiao Qiushui, let me tell you, don't think you can do whatever you want just because you're home. This family won't gain much with you, nor lose much without you. If you resent us, you can get the hell out right now. I never said this, family welcomes you back. I suddenly let out a cold laugh, a laugh full of sarcasm. Did I want to come back to this house? What happened just last night? Has Miss Xiao here already forgotten it all? You clearly want to use me to restore cooperation with the Liu family, yet you make it sound like I am shamelessly clinging to this place. Why are you all so noble, while I deserve to be belittled by you all? As if I am worthless. Father Xiao was trembling with anger. Shut up. He suddenly stood up from his chair, quickly walked over to me, and slapped me without a word. This slap was very hard, sending my whole body falling onto the dining table. The plate in front of me fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Looking at my face again, it immediately swelled up. The corner of my mouth was split, and fresh blood slowly trickled out, dripping onto the pristine white tablecloth, looking incredibly glaring. My hearing was already poor, and under this heavy blow, I instantly went deaf. My brain was buzzing, as if countless bees were swarming by my ears. Did this slap hurt? To me, it didn't really hurt. After all, I had long gotten used to being beaten in prison, but just because it didn't hurt doesn't mean I didn't hate. I turned my head back, my expression as cold as ice. Father Xiao's face was filled with anger, without a trace of fatherly love in his eyes. Mother Xiao looked extremely heartbroken, but made no real move to stop it. Xiao Rongyu furrowed her brow tightly. A complex emotion flashed in her eyes, but it quickly returned to coldness. The glee in Xiao Yan's eyes couldn't be concealed in time. The resentment that had been suppressed in my heart for so many years erupted completely in this moment like a volcano. I used all my strength with both hands to flip the dining table in front of me. With a loud crash, bowls, plates, and food scattered all over the floor, a complete mess. Father and Mother Xiao were so startled by this sudden action that they staggered back several steps. Xiao Yan even screamed in fear. Xiao Rongyu roared. Xiao Chu Shui, are you insane? I screamed, until my voice was hoarse. What gives you the right to treat me like this? What on earth did I do wrong to be treated like this by all of you? My tears streamed down, mixing with the blood from the corner of my mouth, flowing down my cheeks. Mother Xiao took a step forward, wanting to hold me back, but I pushed her away. Qiu Shui, calm down a little. We are all family. Can't we talk things out properly? Why do you need to make such a scene? Father Xiao glared angrily, pointing at me and scolding. This unfilial son, you still dare to act so recklessly here? Look at yourself now. You're a disgrace to the Xiao family. Xiao Yan hid behind Father Xiao and said softly, Brother, don't be like this. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Don't be angry anymore, okay? I couldn't hear what they were saying at all. I could only see their mouths moving, some angry, some disappointed, some aggrieved. I was like a caged animal roaring with all its might, roaring so loudly, but I couldn't even hear my own roars. I staggered outside, but the scene before me blurred, and I only felt the world spinning. I used the last of my strength to stay upright, but my body swayed uncontrollably. My knees buckled, and my whole body pitched forward. Xiao Rongyu lunged forward, catching me tightly in her arms just as I fell. Xu Shui, her arms trembled slightly as she carefully held me. Mother Xiao was so worried she was in tears, completely flustered. He was fine just a moment ago. Why is it like this now? Father Xiao snorted coldly. Don't I know him? He has no other skills. He's just the best at pretending. Veins bulged on Xiao Rongyu's forehead. That's enough. Xu Shui has already fainted, and you're still here making sarcastic remarks. I am starting to wonder if Qiu Shui is even your biological son. After saying that, she carried me and strode upstairs. Father Xiao was so angry he almost jumped up. If he weren't my son, he wouldn't even have the chance to act recklessly in front of me. I once again woke up in Xiao Rongyu's room. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Auntie Tang sitting by the bed, holding a cotton swab, her eyes full of heartache. As she applied medicine to my swollen face, seeing me awake, she quickly asked with concern, Young master, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere else? I stared blankly at her moving lips, and tears fell silently. Auntie Tang was so worried her eyes turned red. What's wrong, young master? Did I hurt you? I couldn't hear clearly what Auntie Tang was saying. That slap from Father Xiao had made my already poor hearing even worse. I could only faintly hear small sounds, but I know how to read lips and understood what Auntie Tang was saying. Before going to prison, I didn't know how to read lips. Now I know how, because after my right ear lost its hearing, I often couldn't hear the orders those people gave me. That also led to them torturing me more cruelly. To get beaten less, I forced myself to learn to read lips. Even if I couldn't hear clearly, I could still understand what they meant by reading their lips.